Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brief review of the developmental theories that we've learned and discussed for adolescents in P313 and P312. It will be a review of the theorists who've provided teachers with a wealth of useful and helpful information when they were alive and continuing even into today. So some of them, let's take a look. The first one is Dr. William Glasser, and Dr. William Glasser wrote and developed choice theory. And we talked about that in class, and the various points in the theory that seem to make sense, do make sense for teachers. And in my personal professional life, a couple of the things that Dr. Glasser said is that all behavior is observable, and it's a choice. Behavior is observable and a choice. That's very important for you as a middle school or high school teacher to internalize, so that you realize that saying someone is disrespectful or someone has a bad attitude is not really talking about their behavior. That's talking about your judgment of their behavior. So behavior is observable, like sticking out their tongue, that getting up out of their seat and walking around the room. Behavior is observable, and behavior is a choice. Of course, middle school kids and high school students will want to say, he made me do it. No. All behavior is that person's choice. And if you look at the second yellow point, it's to be noted that behavior is the adolescent's or any person's best attempt at the time to fulfill their needs. It's their best attempt at the time to fulfill their needs. So sticking out their tongue or getting out of their seat and walking around the room, that was their best attempt at the time to fulfill their needs. Just like if there's another student who, when you said open your book and start to work on the math problems, immediately opened their book and started to work on the math problems, it was because that was that student's best attempt at the time to get what they need. You can see in the red on the screen, Glasser talked about 5 areas or 5 categories of need. Think of them as broad categories. First one is the physical needs of survival, food, water, shelter, those type of things. The second one you can see on the screen, love and belonging, connectedness, being together, important in a person's life, including school, including the middle school classroom or the high school classroom. Third one, power or achievement, being able to accomplish things, have confidence, to see growth. The person sees internal growth inside, to be recognized, to be called upon, to be celebrated. That's power and that's achievement. Everyone needs it. All human beings have these 5 areas of need. Fourth one, freedom and choices, being able to make some decisions, to live my life, not be told what to do all the time. Every person has that. It's in our genes. And the last one, fun, freedom, fun and enjoyment. Fun and enjoyment. We're driven to find some fun. And Glasser pointed out that learning is a direct connection to fun. That when you watch preschoolers and kindergartners and early years of school, you see them having so much fun and learning the new things every day. He also points that out, that we tend to get that out of them by the time they get later into school. But let's see if we can fix that a little bit, because we want learning to stay fun. Now, I'm not saying all learning's got to be fun or all school has to be fun. I'm saying to have quality school, quality learning, quality instruction, there has to be some fun, because that's a human need. So that's a brief look at Glasser's choice theory. We'll look at it again later, but for right now, that's enough. Second, we've talked about the developmental theories of Jean Piaget. And according to this psychologist, as you can see in the white, children progress through a series of 4 critical stages of development, particularly what their brains can do. And each stage is marked by a shift out of one into the other. And the 4 stages are in the yellow. We have 1, the sensory motor stage. You know, when we saw the video of touching the babies on the cheek and how much more attentive they were and how much more responsive they were, just instead of just talking to them. Number two, the pre-operational stage. Pre-operational stage. Remember when the lab assistant had the 2 beakers of water, juice, exactly the same beaker, exactly the same level, and then poured one into a thinner, taller beaker, and the girl said, well, that's the biggest one. That has the most juice. Because she was in the pre-operational stage. And then concrete operational stage, knowing that things exist and knowing that they're relatively permanent. And that would be right at the beginning of adolescence. That's where they are still in stage 3 most of the time. And then they're moving towards stage 4, which is formal operational stage. In that video, we watched some young high school students in a debate about ethics. And in the formal operational stage, a student is capable, and an adolescent is capable of taking the viewpoint of other people, of having some empathy. And I always say that's a great thing for secondary teachers. It's a great field that we're in, because we'll have students who can do activities in stage 4, where elementary teachers will not have that opportunity. In the red, most adolescents in concrete operational moving towards formal operations or formal operational. All right, next, that's 2 theorists. Let's take a look at number 3. Albert Bandura. Albert Bandura and the Bobo doll. Well, Dr. Bandura was very important for helping us realize that children see what's being modeled, and then they do it. And so that is an important level and important way for children to learn. Children see, children do. And parents, grandparents, immediate family members, siblings are watching those and learning how to behave. Teachers are probably in second place as a group in their lives about displaying behavior, because they're with us 6, 7 hours a day, 5 days a week. So we have a terrific influence of being able to model behavior. Well, Bandura wanted to show the extent of this, so he conducted the famous Bobo doll experiment, which again we saw in video. And in the Bobo doll experiment, children without any direction simply watched an adult become aggressive with the blow-up doll that it had weighted at the bottom, and it would bounce back and forth and sometimes completely fall over. And the adult hit it and kicked it and threw it to the ground and beat it and so on. And without saying to the children that this is what you should do, when the child went into that room and no one else was there and they didn't know they were being monitored, they displayed the same type of behavior, hitting and kicking, throwing down. And Bandura even noted, if you see the third yellow one, that those children who saw the aggressive behavior of the adult created new and unique behaviors they'd never seen with this Bobo doll, but they came up with them. They became even more aggressive than the adult model. So teachers, from Bandura, number 3, model the behaviors you want from your students in your classrooms. Number 4, Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson, and you know I told you he's one of my favorites. Erik Erikson developed the psychosocial developmental theory, because this is all theories. We've talked about we can't cut open people's heads and see their psychology. Psychology theories are, of course, created by observing in unique situations and experimental situations, but also just observing life. So Dr. Erikson said that we all, as living humans, pass through 8 stages of crisis that we must solve. They're here for you, and they'll be on your notes. I put them in red. That when we're first born, we are trying to develop trust and not mistrust, to feel safe. And if we gain that, then we have hope. And Dr. Erikson talked about you don't have to solve every one of these 8 crises. However, if you do, that's helpful to you. That's like, I was telling in class, that's like bonus points. So if you solve being able to trust the world, the people in the world, because your parents modeled that the world was safe and you were safe with them and you were safe with your brothers and sisters and so on, then you gained hope, and that's in the yellow. So the bonus points for solving that crisis is that you are now living a life and you have hope for that life. Number 2, The potty training stage, the crisis is autonomy versus shame. Autonomy, I'm independent, I can do this, I'm successful, versus shame and doubt. And what you'll gain if you solve that is that you'll have the will to go on, the will to be even a better person, because now I have some autonomy. I'm not a part of that person, I'm me. And that's just the beginning of learning about me. Number 3 stage, it's initiative versus guilt. And what you're trying to gain there is purpose. Initiative versus guilt. To be able to take the step forward, to say, I want to do this, I don't think that's a good idea, so on and so forth, to take the initiative, to go out and accomplish something. If you do that, if you're able to solve that crisis, then you gain, the bonus points are for purpose. You have a purpose in your life. And of course, we were talking about this. For me, certainly part of number 3, purpose, was discovering this and knowing that I wanted to be a teacher, that I wanted to be an educator from early in my life. And it gave me a purpose, and I moved forward to those bonus points. Number 4, industry versus guilt. That's where, of course, you're wanting to become competent. You're wanting to become even more successful. And what you gain is competence. You gain competence. And once you have your purpose, if you're successful in living that purpose, you gain that confidence even, but especially competence, and you move forward with more bonus points. Then we get to number 5, and that's where most of your students will be, in the middle schools and high schools. Still trying to solve number 5, which is in the blue, identity versus role confusion. Identity versus role confusion. What the adolescents want to know is, who am I? Who am I? If you solve that, if you begin to realize this is who I am, my self-concept, my self-esteem, the view I have of myself, then the bonus points, what you're going to gain is you're going to have fidelity and faithfulness, which are both positive character traits. You'll be able to keep your word. You will be able to be faithful. That's what we want for all the adolescents that we're teaching. And then number 6, you look at number 6, intimacy versus isolation. If I'm faithful, if I have fidelity, if I have faithfulness, if I believe in myself because of the competence and the purpose that I've gained, then my next crisis is intimacy versus isolation. Intimacy versus isolation. Am I going to be by myself and protect myself and live in this me? Or am I going to have the confidence that I gained in number 4 to reach out, and the purpose that I gained in number 3 to someone and say, I love you? And because that's the bonus points of number 6. Intimacy, inner relationship. Intimacy, inner relationship, a loving relationship. Number 7, it's the suburban years, I suppose, as we would see on TV, and that's when your purpose you're trying to solve, can I produce enough to take care of myself and my family, my loved ones, that came about as a result of the intimacy and competence and purpose and faithfulness? Can I now make enough stuff, make enough money, a house, a car, health, food, to take care of the ones that I love? And that's number 7. And so you're producing. The opposite of that, if you haven't gained some of those things above this, then you're going to have stagnation. You'll be just stuck. You'll be stuck in your development. If you can solve number 7, you make your stuff, you're able to take care of yourself and your family, your bonus points are care and protecting. You care about people. Now, not only caring about your immediate family and the people in that family, but the people in your community, the people in your town, the people in your state, the people in your country, the people in the world. You're caring for other human beings and about other human beings. And finally, number 7, which would be the AARP years, I guess. And it's kind of changing all the time. Number 8, ego integrity. Yeah, I am okay. Versus despair. Oh, woe is me. Why did I throw my life away? I just don't know how I didn't do more that I wanted to do. It's a life unlived, and here I am on death's door. And you didn't gain wisdom. But if you had ego integrity, and you believe I'm okay, and you had all those bonus points from care and protecting and love and fidelity and competence and purpose, we could go all the way back. And if you had that and you see your family and you see the things that you're able to produce and care for, and the fact that you're now in a situation where you're loving people and life, then you get the yellow bonus points. Wisdom. You have wisdom. Not too bad of a thing. Finally, Lawrence Kohlberg. We talked about Lawrence Kohlberg in moral and ethical reasoning. Again, I find this a very interesting thing. You probably need to go just a little bit quicker. It's supposed to be a brief summary. But Kohlberg, when he was saying how people make moral and ethical decisions, their development occurs through 6 stages, but it's 3 levels. Get 3 levels, and in each level are 2 stages, so it's a total of 6 stages. You can see them in the red. So pre-conventional, when people are first born, they're very young, they're babies, they're toddlers, so on. They're making their decisions about whether, should I do this, is it right or wrong? You look at number 1. I must be obedient so I don't get punished. I must be obedient so I don't get punished. It's the kind of getting caught. And that works for a while. We hope that they get to number 2, which is I'm going to do this. It's the right thing to do because I know it's going to be good for me because I'm going to get a reward. And whether it's a sticker, a piece of candy, a hug, or $5. Some kind of thing that is in that person's need fulfillment. And they go, well, that's good. That's a lot better than being punished. So pre-conventional level, 2 stages, obedience and punishment, and self-interest and reward. Now, we go to the conventional, and that's where the vast majority of human beings are still. When they get there, they stay there. The majority stay there. Conventional, it's the typical, that's what conventional means. And in the 3rd stage, I'm going to decide what's right or wrong, not whether I get punished, and not whether I get a reward, because I'm past that, but I'm going to do what I believe is right because I want to be a good boy or a good girl or a good person. I want to be good. Everybody tells me I should be good. I want to be good. That works. It's pretty conventional, and society can run on that. And then you see number 4, the 4th stage, I'm going to be good, and I'm going to make my decisions based upon not only being good, because I do want to be a good boy, but I want to follow the rules. The rules of the school, the rules of the law, the rules that my dad has and my mom has, and so on and so forth. We have to have that order or we can't maintain. So in level 4, stage 4, it's about following the rules and the law. That's where most people stay, right there. Either in being a good girl or a good boy, or I'm going to do this because it's the law, it's the rules. There is one higher level, and that's the post-conventional, as you can see in red. And that's where you have that, you know you need to be a good boy and a good girl, and there are rules and laws. But now, in stage 5, you're looking for social contract. Realizing that sometimes people or a single person or a single life of not a person, an animal or plant or trees, but life itself, realizing that life itself and that social contract I have with life is more important than the rules, more important than being a good boy. And you start to make decisions that way. Not a lot of people get to post-conventional. I would think of some probably, I would think Gandhi and Mother Teresa. 6th, the highest one, still in post-conventional, universal ethics and love. That you're going to make your decision on, yes, all of that still is fitting in, but now the one that's driving you forward is that love needs to be the answer. Love needs to be the answer rather than following the rules or being a good boy or girl. Now, look at the yellow at the bottom. Adolescence, when you have your adolescence in middle school and high school, there will be adolescence in all 6 of those levels. All 6 of those levels. And your job will be, as the secondary teacher, teaching social studies or math or biology, whatever it is, your job will also be through character education and modeling, as Bandura talked about, to help students move forward in these stages that Kohlberg set up and get it to an even higher stage. And high school would certainly be modeling and talking about 5 and 6, social contract and universal ethics. All right. Well, this is the one that's not a review, the one that's going to be new, and I'm going to leave you with information of what you can do to read about that and read about Vygotsky. It's here on the screen. Vygotsky said, and he was trying to make the point, that our specific mental structures, what's going on in our head, and the processes that we have up here can be traced to interactions with others. He was saying it was social learning. And he has wonderful theories about that. And looking at what's the most important for you in this review, I believe it's this one. This was developed by Vygotsky, and it's the zone of proximal development. Probably going to be on some pedagogy test that you have or something, but it's certainly probably going to be on one of my quizzes. But the zone of proximal development says that every student, every learner has 3 zones. That the blue that you see is what I can't do. The yellow inside is what I can do already now. I can master that. I've got that mastered. I can do it. The pinkish purple, I guess that's purple, pinkish, what I can do with help. That's the zone of proximal development. Now, in the old days, in middle school, secondary, if a teacher was teaching one lesson plan to everyone, same book, same assignment, same input to the students, same output from the students, teaching everyone the same in this class of 28. Some students were going to be in the blue zone. They can already do it. Some are going to be in the purple pinkish zone, which they can do it, but you got to help them. And some are already in the yellow. I can do this. Why am I bothering to do it again? And so if you don't teach in the zone of proximal development, you have students who are completely lost and can't do it. And you have students who can do it and are totally bored. That's why now we realize in every school of education across the country, you can't teach one lesson plan, one set of inputs, one set of outputs, one set of instructional strategies to everyone in a class of 28 when that class is heterogeneous. And we know that heterogeneous classes are more productive and students learn more than classes that are ability tracked or homogeneous. That we learn from each other with a wide variety of abilities and skills. The teacher's job, and what we're going to say as you get towards the end of teaching, is that in a class of 28, you're going to need at least, and here's why, 3 tracks on your lesson plan. Your mini lesson can go to everybody, where you introduce the skill or the understanding that you want them to develop and the objectives, and you talk about that. But you're going to need 3 tracks in your lesson plan. A track for those who are really behind, and they're going to need remedial instruction. They're going to need intervention. Response to intervention. You're going to need a track in your lesson plan that's for the yellow. They can already do it. They need to quickly demonstrate it. Then they need to move not upward, but horizontally and expand that learning and understanding, the knowing and the skills that they have, even to a greater breadth, to expand what they know in unique ways. And then finally, the zone of proximal development, where these students, if you're monitoring them and you're bringing up to your table or you're checking in some way, and you're giving them help when they need it, they're going to be able to succeed. Well, this has been a brief presentation here on a review of the developmental theorists that we've talked about and they're in our class. I have a video here. When we show this to you, if you were in my class, I would start the video, but I'm going to let you do that on your own. It's called Did You Know? It's been updated. It's updated every probably 3 years, and this is the 2016 version. It just came out. I think you'll find it very interesting about Did You Know 2016. So please watch that. It's about 5 minutes long, I think. And then a very interesting one. We've not had this before. Just think about the students you're teaching and what they're going to be doing in 2028, 12 years from now. If you're teaching a 7th grader, they could be sitting where you are. Maybe they're in college. Maybe they're looking for a job. But it's called Did You Know 2028. Now, this is a projection, of course. This is a group of students projecting. It was produced by students in a private school. That's fine because the presentation is well done. Not promoting that, but I'm saying this is a valuable video to think about as educators, about teachers, about human beings and students. What's it going to be like? Did you know the way it's going to be in 2028? So I'll close with, as a future teacher, be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see in your students and in the world, because you will touch the future, I promise. And that's all, folks. I know you know how to get in touch with me, and I know you know how to ask questions and get help. And if you're in that zone of proximal development and need some help, ask. If you're already out there and you're lost, contact me, ask, I'll help. If you're in that, hey, I knew this before, hey, I've got another assignment you could do instead of this one. It probably would be a little more challenging and you might enjoy it all a little bit more. So you can contact me too. I'll see you in the room. This is David Sullivan-Losey from Indiana University Southeast, School of Education, Secondary Division, for the class, Adolescent Development. Bye-bye.